What's going on, the Winners Win podcast? Your boy Loso 2.0. And today I have a special guest with me. If you could do the honors of introducing yourself to the audience.
Hello, hello, hello. Winner Circle. That's what we going with today. My name is Mill Ivory. I am the host and creator of Closed Door Conversation. All things and anything, just anything. We talk about everything. Nothing's off limit. We're here to help and to educate and to have fun and do all that good stuff. I also am the owner operator of a Black-owned business, A to Z Creations, and it is exactly what it is, A to Z. I specialize in customization, so all things customization. Anything you can think of, I can create. I create games. I create branding stuff. So for people out there with businesses need branding stuff, I do that. I do logos, I do banners, anything. I have a website. My website is a to z creations.com. And today I'm in the winner circle. I'm over here because it's Carlos World. I'm just rolling with him today. So what's goody winners? What's good?
Oh, that is definitely a really good introduction. Okay, so the A to Z creation is something that my first time hearing about this. So with your A to Z to creation and with your podcast and stuff, I know that you're definitely an entrepreneur. How do you feel like your support is from your family with entrepreneurship?
I tell people, and my recommendation is to people, and I don't know if your experience is different, but from my experience, it started out with me just, of course, with customization is one of those crafts that you have to master. So just trying things, doing things, making things, volunteering to help with other people events, to do things for them, to help them out, et cetera, et cetera. So it started out, of course, with giving a lot of promo and the free products, obviously, just for people to post your stuff and advertise and get your stuff out there. So when it's time to pay, yeah, that's not what we're doing. But I tell people what God has for you is for you. And that's crazy that I'm talking about your part on winners, right? Because I tell people this all the time. What God has for you is for you, and it's always going to be within your time. So I don't tell people, you have to go out there and network with other people, and just put yourself out there. I'm still growing, obviously. God hadn't seen fit to make me full-time entrepreneur yet, but I'm gonna get there. But I do know, based on my experience from the success that I've had so far, that your family and friends will support you some. The little things they don't even realize that's important, sharing your products, just telling somebody, spreading the word. Hey, oh, you need a custom jacket? I know somebody that can do that for you. It's just little things that they don't realize because they don't have that entrepreneurship mindset, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that they realize that can help you. But, just network, and take Carlos's mindset.
I mean, hey, listen, they listen to this podcast. They definitely on that. They're a winner to me, honestly. If you even just
Yeah,
listen
because
to
you
it.
dropping jewels. You don't even realize you be dropping jewels, though. And that's what I love, though, is natural.
Oh no, I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. So okay, so you said your family did support some. Sometimes when people come to pay, they're not paying. Why don't you expand on that a little bit more?
I mean, for some reason, people don't realize that if you are a Black-owned business or a smaller business like myself, of course, for me, things are more expensive because things are, one, they're handmade.
Mm-hmm.
There, I tell people all the time, and I put this on my little care cards and my thank you cards. This item is made with love because
Mm-hmm.
I love what I do. So when I create something for you, whether I design it or what, I want you to know that it was done personally for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you have some people that say, well, I went here and I got it for this, or I got it for that. I don't know who they're buying from. I don't know, that goes into, speaking of business, you have cost and you have all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have higher quality, so quantity. So if the more you can buy, the cheaper you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
Quantity is not always quality, though. So, you have to think about that too. As far as the a family and friends, is they'll say they'll purchase, they don't want to buy stuff. You have some that's going to buy all the time, but you
Mm-hmm.
have some that just expect you to give it because you can get it, even if you say, well, I'll just charge you cost. But make sure you post it, make sure you tag me, make sure you still getting it free. Yeah, they don't want to do that.
Dang, yeah. I see that common theme with some of the people that I interview, that sometimes some come from circles that are more supportive and they get further along with that, but then some that don't, it's you just have to make up for it by working a little bit harder, which is okay. Which is okay.
Definitely have to work hard. It's kind of those situations where um I'm not sure how open you were with your story. Kind of like
Oh, I'm
when
wide.
you're in the process, huh?
I'm wide open. Yeah, with my story.
Right.
There you
So,
go.
when you're in the process of building generational wealth or starting things or doing new things, people look at it more like, oh, well, I'm not going to pay for that because I can get so and so to make that for me, or I can get Mill to
Mm-hmm.
do that. I could get that from her, but you can get it from me if you pay for it. Because
Mm-hmm.
guess what? I pay for it. I pay for my products to make it. I pay for my time to do it. And my time is money. Anytime in
Mm-hmm.
business, your time is money. So I think that was like one of the toughest boundaries for me to set in my business, to realize family, friends, I mean, time is money.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to
100%.
pay me for my time and you need to pay me for my money, period.
100%. Because you can't get time back. Literally, once it's gone, it's gone.
You can. And if you are a true supporter, like for myself, I do honestly having a podcast. I have people that do books and stuff, and they say, hey, I'm going to send you products. I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you that. And it's greatly appreciated. I love it. But
Mm-hmm.
whenever I say I'm going to support you, that means I'm going to purchase your product. I have people now that I truly want to support. And I know that support comes in a monetary form. In some
Mm-hmm.
cases, sometimes it's a matter of me just sharing your stuff, putting your stuff out there. That's also a form of support. That's free 99. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Yeah.
I'm always sharing people's stuff because I feel like winners want other people to win, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. We're going to encourage each other. We're going to uplift each other because we know the struggle. We know the struggle. We know what it takes. We know how hard it is when you're really out there getting it.
Mm-hmm. 100%. 100%. I definitely agree with that. So with your A to Z customization in your podcast, let's kind of rewind to the beginning. Like, how did you get started? Like, what made you get started with, entrepreneurship?
So I've been an entrepreneur the majority of my adult life. Let's start there.
Mm. Yeah.
I've always had my own business, always. Like when I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I don't do hair anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
as most people know that do hair, you're your own business owner.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a salon first, fresh out of high school. Of course, I rented a booth and then I end up getting my own space and making my own salon. Did hair for 13 years. The industry started changing. Where people didn't take their hair care serious. They just want to put a wig on or put weave on, or they wasn't really caring about hair care. And so I kind of not lost interest in the industry, but I'm trying to think of the best way to say it because I still go to hair shows. I'm still active in the industry. Like my
Yeah.
license are
Mm-hmm.
still good. I just didn't want to make a living like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how we all have like all these dreams as kids that we want to be this or be that. I've always wanted to be an attorney. Okay. Um I'm good at talking now. You know I got that gap. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I went to school for cosmetology. While I was going to school for cosmetology, I've always been one of those people I love, love, love to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I love meeting people and connecting with people because I like feeding off their energy. I like sharing my energy and what I know with them. And so I was doing hair. I was going to school at the time for criminal justice. I was a single teenage mother. I was a
Mm-hmm.
parent at 18. So when I graduated high school, I had a 6-month-old daughter as well as a cosmetology license. So I had to work, right?
Yeah.
So I worked, went to school for criminal justice. Life happened, started making good money doing hair, got my 2-year degree and didn't go no further, was making good money. I
Mm-hmm.
was cool with that. And continued life. I got older, kids started getting old. I was like, yeah, let me pursue this. So then I went further. I went and got my 4-year degree.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have a human service degree. I have a criminal justice degree. I have a 2-year degree and I have a 4-year degree, a bachelor's degree. So then it was like, now all within the same, law enforcement / legal field type situation. Fast forward to today, because that's a lot. So decided finally, okay, my kids are adults. My kids are in high school. I'm too old to switch careers, but let me just see because I'm still interested. I still have a passion for this field. So today I am a certified paralegal. Now I know people that listen to my show don't know by my mouth, but I am a certified paralegal in the state that I reside in, and I do
Mhm.
work in an attorney's office full time. I do my podcast part time, which is a lot of times when I'm off work. Um, and I also I do my customization business, A to Z Creations. So, it's just the hustle of an entrepreneur. Is the hustle of people don't realize what all you do to get to where you are because you're fueled by your passion, right? And
Mhm.
so right now where I am, honestly, I am passionate about everything that I'm doing. I love everything that I do. But ultimately, the goal for me in life, which I would hope it is for much other people, and it's not everybody does not have the entrepreneur mindset. Some people are fine with clocking in every day for somebody else
Yeah.
and
So
doing
people,
that.
yeah.
But that's not ultimately what I feel like God has put me on this earth to do.
Mhm.
Ultimately, in the dream world, and I'm not going to say in a dream world, once I'm going to just go ahead and manifest that thing once God see fit, I will be doing my customization, and I would basically just do my customization and podcast full time because I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy doing this in this space. Now, I enjoy what I do in my full-time job, but
Yeah.
it is controlled
Of
by
course.
someone else and not by
Mhm.
myself, by corporate America and not by myself.
Yeah, no, yeah, I understand completely. You want to do something that you want to do and that you can control, like you have the control over it, because that's the biggest amount of job security you're going to get, honestly. Because at the end of the day, the office could just close and be like, hey, you got to go find another job. Where
Right.
when you control everything else by your podcast, it's all based off of you and based off of how much you keep learning, how many people you keep meeting. So I totally agree with anybody that says that too, right? You do like what you do, maybe for work, but at the end of the day, it's all about trying to do what you want to do when you want to do it.
Two different avenues, that financial freedom as well as that time. You cannot get
Mm-hmm.
time back. But the thing is, and when I told somebody else that before, they was like, well, how are you going to podcast and do your customization? First of all, you can podcast and travel the world and do that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that the podcasting is just for me.
Mm-hmm.
That is a personal thing that allows me to keep learning, keep
Mm-hmm.
growing, keep meeting people, sharing my knowledge with other people, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
That's personal. Now, my business is a way for me to build generational wealth for my family,
Of
to leave
course.
something for my kids, to leave something for my grandkids,
Of course.
yeah, she's a grandmother. Um, you know, a way to leave a legacy behind that I can leave with other people that can carry on.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what this is all about, really, right? You know what I mean? I even stated that before. How come you see Chinatowns and little Italies and all these things, right? Where our people they stick together, but then when it comes to our people, whenever it's a community with all of us together, it's segregation. You know what I mean? Like they're all in our community. Chinese store on every block, corner store on every block, owned by someone else. You know what I mean? It's not our
But you
own
know why
community.
you see that though? Give me your tagline because you know I love it. Tell me the tagline. Why you see
What?
that?
What you said? My tagline?
About
What?
what the winners and what the haters do.
Hey, winners win and losers focus on winners. That's all it is.
It's like the crab in the bucket mentality. Like
Mm-hmm.
if people can get out of that mindset, people don't understand why I know other people doing customization, and if I can't get to it, I'm gonna shoot them to sell. I'm gonna shoot them the
Mm-hmm.
customer. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because what's for me is for me. I'm a strong believer in what God has for me is for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't matter if I send you 5 different customers. If I send Carlos 5 customers, or I send you to 2 other people because I'm super busy in that moment, whether it's with my job, with my life, with my podcast, and you're loyal to me, guess where you coming back to?
Right back to you. Exactly. No, that's true. That's definitely true. That's something we can all build. We can build, and that's just like you said, getting out of that mindset that you're not trapped and you don't have to be a statistic because that's what your environment says or that what your environment screams, and people see that every day and think that they got to do that. But you can create your own environment. I talk about it all the time. You can get your own, you make your own library in your room. You can literally put your own vision boards. Not that'd be physically change your environment.
And what's so crazy is I'm definitely one of those people that do not like to be put in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like my podcast, we talk about everything from entrepreneurship to sex to
Mm-hmm.
mental health to, generational curse. Like we talk about so much stuff, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can't put me in this one box. Same with my business. That's why it's A to Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a kinky corner in which I sell adult toys. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I sell rolling trays and rolling tray sets. I don't judge people. I'm just here to give you what you want. I
Mm-hmm.
sell custom hoodies and jackets and and that helps business owners, that helps some people that want to represent people that's passed. I have grave blankets, for people that want to support their loved ones that's passed
Mm-hmm.
on, so yeah, you ain't missing me on either end, baby. What we talking about, what we doing, what you need.
It doesn't matter. It literally, it all at the end of the day, it all goes back to a same brand. Like once you create a strong branding, people will buy from you no matter what, because they're like, oh, that's Carlos's or that's Mills. Like I know I'm a support because that's
Oh,
them.
I have people right now because they know how I am, how creative I am in my head. And obviously, like my website have so much stuff, but you obviously can't put everything on the website. I have people that buy from me constantly and like they'll hit me up and say, I know you can do this. When can you do it? How much you gonna charge me? Like that's just how I roll. Cause it used to be at first, it's so crazy because I look at some of our emails and stuff in the beginning. It was like, can you do this? I seen this. I want to see if you could do this. So I know you can do this. Will, can you
Mm-hmm.
do it? How much you gonna like? And that's amazing though, because
Mm-hmm.
that shows the growth in the belief in me and my
Mm-hmm.
product, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. It
I
does. It
love it.
does. So let's see. You got the business. You got grandkids. You got
Grown
kids,
kids.
grown kids. You know what I mean? Working full time, podcast part time. How do you find time to have a good work life balance?
Oh God. So last year I started on this journey because as I mentioned, I was a teenage mother. So my
Mm-hmm.
whole adult, I've been a mother, right? My whole adult
Mm-hmm.
life, I've been a mother. And I'm 46
Mm-hmm.
years
Okay.
old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm 45 and I never really had a life. Like I've always been a mother first, even now. I'm where I am now because I moved to a whole nother town to help my daughter with my grandson. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
that mother, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
So I'm finally have an empty nest. I'm finally to the point to where I can focus on me. And it's sad, I think a little sad that I'm this old and I'm just realizing that because I've always been about being a mother, being a grandmother, about being the hustle, just making
Mm-hmm.
things happen to make sure I was able to provide things for my kids, mainly because same similar situation. Now, my mother and my father were married. They divorced when I was 7. I see my mother go from being a homemaker to going back to school, getting her GED, becoming a licensed cosmetologist, taking care of us on her business.
Mm-hmm.
But in between this time in her schooling and her education, we had to get food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't mean Christmases where it was my mama had 4 kids. It was 4 of us, 2 girls and 2 boys. Well, we had to go, what we got for Christmas? We spent $20 a piece on the food stamp part.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right. Yeah. I don't know.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was always grinding because I didn't want my kids to never, ever, ever have that feeling. Never been on food stamps, never been on housing, never. I was so caught up in the grind and so much of trying to make a better life for them I forgot about me as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I'm finally, it's crazy that I'm here now because I've always loved myself, but I always felt like it was my responsibility to make sure that they were okay.
Yeah. I mean, as a mother, that's makes sense that you naturally do feel that, but it's like I like to look at it as like if you ever been on a plane before,
All the
and
time. Are
you
you
know how when they're
serious?
saying when the plane's going down and the things come down, they're like,
Shut
save
up,
yourself first.
Carlos. I think you heard that on my podcast. I
No,
literally
I did.
just talked about that. I literally, so for New Year's, but so because my audience, the closed door conversations, I am open and honest about everything on my
Yeah.
podcast. Like my
Mm-hmm.
kids are learning stuff about me because I was always that mother, do as I say, do not as I do. And
Yeah.
when I did things, I partied and had my life, but they didn't know it because they just knew they was going to spend the night with grandma, right?
Yeah.
So they're learning things about me. And I literally just said that. I just said that I didn't realize the whole time I wasn't putting my mask on to receive the proper oxygen, but I was passing it to my kids, but I was
Yeah.
suffocating myself.
Yeah.
The fact that you use that analogy is crazy, because I literally just said that on my podcast. I just said that.
It's true though. You can't help somebody else until you help yourself. That's why, although we love what we do and we're entrepreneurs and stuff, and we want to help as many people as possible, we can't help them unless we make money from it until we're rich ourselves. That increases your reach. So Correct. It's true. You gotta save yourself first.
I think it's amazing though that you're so young and you don't realize the tools that you have early on, that some of us later in life, we're so caught up in the grind, like myself, that we're just getting there. It's not about self-love. I've always loved me, but I've always been so wrapped up in the hustle that it wasn't about me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You were being, it was something that an entrepreneur's name's Billionaire PA, he said, you were being selfless. So you were helping your kids, but if you're selfless, you're less of yourself. So you got to actually spend, be selfish at times and really worry about yourself first. And then you could teach your kids more because you taught yourself at first and you saved yourself.
And I don't like to say selfish. I just realized that because the reason why I don't like selfish is because that's in pure transparency. I always felt like when I took time to do anything for myself, I was being selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to use that word.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like to use self-aware, because you have to become self-aware to know that loving on yourself and doing for yourself and putting yourself first is not selfish. Mm-hmm. It's necessary for survival. And now that I'm learning this growth and being more in tune, because, I cuss, holler, act a fool, and play a lot. But one thing I don't play about is my money, and I don't play about the Lord, and sometimes when God puts you in position to listen and you really just sit and listen and be obedient to what God is telling you, you're going to sit your ass down and you're going to reevaluate some things.
Sure. That's
true. And unfortunately, it took me a little longer because I always thought I was being obedient. Now, I always be obedient, but it only when it came to everybody else. When it came to me, I wanted to have a conversation and argue with God, So I feel like that's why I'm 46 and not where I want to be, because I was not being obedient when it came to me.
You know what? I actually like that, because I think on your podcast, if I'm not mistaken, you said that you're spiritual but not religious.
Right.
Which that actually makes sense though, because, you see that a lot of, and you can, quote me if I'm wrong, but you see that comment in, I would say, I went to a Baptist church at first, but like with Christianity, they'll say, like, they'll tell you need to do this, that, and the third, but the whole time the pastor getting drunk every night. And
them Baptist preachers something else. Yeah. I got a cousin that's a preacher right now. Let me tell you, we was one of those families. My grandmother has always been Baptist, but we have always been one of those religious families. And growing, as I came into my adulthood, I learned that it's not necessarily about religion, it's about your relationship with God, right? Yes. And what's crazy is my mother taught me that. Like, it was like, she was so caught up in the hustle. In hindsight, I feel like she was so caught up in what am I do? I've been a homemaker. I've been, you know what I'm saying? She thought she was doing the right thing by us. Like, we literally was in church 3 to 4 times a week. We was raised holiness. Well, we couldn't even wear pants. You hear me? We couldn't even wear pants. We had Bible study on Monday. We had choir rehearsal on Wednesday. We had prayer meeting on Thursday and church on Sunday. You ain't had time for nothing else but the Lord.
That's true, though. It's true.
But even in hindsight, thinking about that, even though we went to a holiness church where there were stipulations, you can't wear pants, you can't wear this, you can't wear that. Even in hindsight, going to church with my mother or going with my grandmother, who was always Baptist, still Baptist to this day. She 87 years old. Thank you, Lord. She's still here, but she's still Baptist. And the word was still the same, the relationship with God. So what I'm learning is what you interpret the Bible as, right? Your interpretation of the word, and being able to distinguish, because some of it is man-made. You want to know why I feel like it is? Money, right? Some people are in it for the wrong reasons. Now, I tell people, I don't judge pastors for dressing nice or being nice. God didn't intend for us to be poor.
Yeah.
He's not going to tell us we kings and queens and want us to live like peasants. That's not what he intended. I don't want to start preaching on here, but you know the word.
Yep. I got you. I definitely understand. So I remember I was listening to an entrepreneur named Russell Brunson. He told me you could look at someone's bookshelf and it can basically explain what type of person they are. So I want to ask you this though. What's your favorite book and what's the biggest lesson you learned from that?
You can't look at my bookshelf and tell that. My bookshelf, my personality is very solid, strict across the board. You cannot put me. I have Alice Hobbs, I have Eric Jerome Dickey, I have as a matter of fact, I just got put down on a new one. I mean, I told you one of my favorite books anyway that I read is the Emotional Intelligence book. I have that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a book that I'm reading now. It's sitting right here, Taming Your Gremlin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that. So it just depends on my mood.
Yeah, but you said that anyway though, so maybe that does describe you. You said you can't be put in a box. So since you got stuff going up and down, that means that's just describing you, right? So what's the biggest lesson that you learned from, I don't know, just one of the books, maybe the Emotional Intelligence one?
The biggest lesson I've learned from emotional intelligence is just really backed me up from what I've learned in life, right? Mm-hmm. My cousin put me on it, but you remember me telling you about my little big cousin?
Yeah.
So he put me down on that book. But one of the things I learned is actually it's so crazy because my kids' whole life, especially my son, I would always tell my kids, you cannot control other people. You can only control yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things in that book back that up for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just telling you about the training, the thought of the mind and training and how to control your temper and how to read other people or how to analyze things before you speak or how to read nonverbal communication from others.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that life lessons taught us that we wasn't paying attention. It kind of just highlighted it for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing.
I see what you're saying. No. That's all good. That's all good. So let me ask you this, right? So we know not even just the entrepreneur journey, but just life in general has its ups and downs. So what are some things that you do when you're down to get yourself back up?
Be left the fuck alone. Honestly, I'm one of those people that's always on the go, always doing stuff, always talking, always doing this. One of my favorite things to do is just be left alone. Left alone. I'll take a hot bubble bath. I love bubble baths. I used to just make me a bubble bath, light me a candle and have me a drink. But since I've been going through this better me, I'm not saying that I don't drink anymore because I do occasionally, because God made wine. It's okay to drink. It's not a sin to drink. It's a sin to get drunk. So I try to be more conscious when it comes down to how I'm treating my body, which includes me in being eating healthier, right?
Yeah.
That's part of it. Because I hadn't always been a big girl, but once I gained weight, I went through a depression and then it went over the top. I was super depressed about being, what they call a dime to this big, thick, fat bitch. So, once I got over that depression, it was like, oh, okay, then I love me. So here I am, you love me and that's it. And it was like, it was okay to be obese, right? But it really wasn't. Yeah. And I'm still obese. Let's just keep this in mind now, but I'm a work in progress, but it's not about the weight loss for me. It's about taking care of myself, taking care of my body, doing better for myself. So I try not to abuse it when it comes to food and alcohol anymore.
Yeah. I guess I'm 25, but I would say I don't drink really often though. I probably once every 6 months maybe. But then when I do, it's like I try to, sometimes I go all out though.
It's okay. It's okay to indulge every now and then. I think the abuse comes in when you constantly doing it. Your body's not made for that. No, and I've always said that I was okay with being a big girl, but I'm not okay with being big and unhealthy. So I always would do stuff that most big girls don't do, like go to the gym and work out and shit. Like, just because I didn't want to get diabetes and shit, watch my sugar intake. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I still would turn up every chance I get. But just being more aware, because I've always been aware spiritually. I think just listening now to God and just trying to take things more seriously as it pertains to myself to get to where I need to be. Because it don't take all day to do nothing. You just have to be focused. Right.
No, facts. Yeah, that's why I break my routine up in 30-minute increments. Every 30 minutes, I know I got to be doing something. So I definitely understand that though. So self-aware, not selfless. I like that, and not selfish. If you had to leave the audience with one last piece of advice, what would it be?
My mantra. I really encourage that through everything that I do. It all boils down to one thing, right? To live your life unapologetically in a way that you do not have to apologize for doing anything. Meaning, not saying you out there being nasty. You know what I'm saying? If you treating people right, if you treating people right,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to keep going back and apologizing for what?
Yeah.
If you're doing right by people, you don't have a reason to feel sorry or to feel sad. Do whatever you do unapologetically and love it. And love yourself first. Because if you don't love you and you're not confident in yourself and you're not loving yourself properly, tell them about the mask. You're not giving yourself the proper oxygen.
Yeah.
You suffocating yourself to let everybody else breathe. And that's not what we're doing.
No, we're not. That's not what we're doing. Listen, it was definitely a pleasure having you on here. It was definitely some great gems that you dropped. If anybody wanted to reach out to you to, just look at your podcast or even just get any type of branding customization, how can they reach out to you?
Okay, so Okay, so let's do one. So the podcast, Closed Door Conversation Podcast, is exactly the way it says. Is not for the verbally sensitive. I just want to put that out there. I always put that disclosure out there. And even though we do drop a lot of gems, I have a lot of great conversations with a lot of people. It is for entertainment. We have to say that for legal purposes. But I am available on all platforms. Every platform you can think of, I'm on. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Pandora. Of course, I'm on Apple Music. I'm on Google Play. I'm on FM. Like, I never even listened to FM, but my goddamn podcast upload to it. So, it's just like anywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as Closed Door Conversation Podcast. Now, let's go to A to Z Creations. A to Z Creations is spelled A dash Z as in zebra, E, and then it's K. Creations is spelled with the K because I want it to stand out. Creations is spelled that way intentionally to be unique. But my website is a-zcreations.com. Go check it out. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as A to Z Creations. You can inbox me. You can text me. I'm on hell, I'm even on Snapchat. I do all this social media stuff for my businesses. Let's just be real. And I'm going to be honest, I'm slack. I don't be on there like I want to or like I need to. I'm trying to take some Carlos tidbits over there and do a little better. But if y'all, I get more followers and stuff, I'd be encouraged. But I am on Snapchat as Unapologetically Mill.
Okay. And Mill, M-I-L.
M-I-L, correct.
All right. Thank you, Mill, for coming on. It was definitely a pleasure having you on here. You did drop some great gems. I like that self-aware. That's the one that stuck in my mind. It might be the title of the episode.
Oh, thank you so much. I really adore you. I keep telling you this, and I'm not trying to embarrass you in front of your audience because you're a grown ass man. Like, I'm not trying to do that, but I keep telling you, my son, actually, my son just had a birthday February 19, and he made 27.
Okay.
Oh, see, you like my baby. But I'm so proud of you. Like, just keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you for all y'all listening, man. Self-aware. I'm telling you, self-aware. And that's Closed Door Conversations, A to Z Creations. All that stuff will be put into the bio or the description below. I want you guys to keep killing the day. Winners win, losers lose, and you pray for success like that. I'll see y'all.